Hello everybody and welcome. In today's topic we're going to talk about, has anime animation gotten worse? We will also need to go over the history of anime as well as the elements and techniques that animator creators use over the years to help improve animation. First, we need to define what anime is. From Oxford Languages, anime is a style of Japanese film and television animation typically aimed at adults as well as children. Let's start from the very beginning. The first anime ever created is Katsudo Shashin, a 4-second clip which is believed to be created in 1907 to around 1912. However, due to not finding a creator or any evidence of it being aired back then, the earliest known surviving clip is Nakamaru Katana from 1917 from Jinichi Kouchi, a 2-minute clip about a foolish samurai boy who buys a dull sword. I am probably saying these names wrong and I want to apologize. I am trying, I'm just not good with names in general. Katsudo Shashin is not a traditional art style, but rather an early form of Japanese animation or anime created using a technique of drawing images on a film strip. Its style is simple, hand-drawn cartoon, and its techniques involve stenciling red and black ink onto a film loop for continuous playback. Early Japanese animation would be heavily influenced by Western and European cartoons. Nakamaru Katana uses a caricature style which is a common trait in the 1910s animation. It uses simple and exaggerated features for character designs, which would later be used in other animes, making the characters more lifelike. Hand-drawn animation. Each frame was drawn by hand on a piece of paper and then photographed, as celluloid animation was not yet the standard in Japan at the time. Later, chalk and board drawing using a hand-drawn style is created by filming the process of drawing on a whiteboard or a digital tablet and then speeding up the footage to create a time-lapse or non-stop effect, and early forms of cell animation would be used later. A stop motion is a filmmaking technique where physical objects are moved incrementally between frames and then the still images are played back in a sequence to create the illusion of movement. 1910s to 1950s is considered early era for anime. 1910s to 1920s had cutout animation, paper cutouts, Chiyogami paper, which is decorative Japanese paper, chalk animation. 1930s to the 1950s, cell animation would be used. The first entirely cell animated anime, Shagama Andu, was released in 1934. First, we'll need to define what cell animation is. Cell animation is a traditional hand-drawn animation technique that uses transparent sheets of celluloid called cells to create the illusion of movement. Artists draw individual frames, tracing the drawings onto the cells, and then place them over painted backgrounds to be photographed one after another. To be fair, early anime animation was in the experimental phase, so I wouldn't say it was necessarily bad. If anything, I'd say it was very impressive for the time period. Different styles of animation and techniques would be used and later improved on over the years, so in a way, anime animation definitely has gotten better. Also, anime animators and studios had to work with a low budget. The 1960s and 70s would become the foundation of modern anime. Osamu Tezuka is considered the god of manga, in which he later would change everything. A style would be named after him for his unique approach in which he would lay the groundwork for other animes to come. He would use larger expressive eyes and simplified character designs to allow for limited animation techniques that save cost and time. He would use dynamic panel layouts, close-ups, and varied perspectives to create a sense of motion and drama. What is dynamic panel layouts? In manga, dynamic panel layouts are a storytelling technique that uses a variety of non-uniform, often irregular or overlapping panels to create a sense of energy, movement, and emotional impact on the page. His best works are Astro Boy and Kimba the White Lion. 1970s anime had distinct genres that popped up with robots like Mazinger Z. The art styles became slightly edgier, incorporating dark visuals and science fiction elements as themes deepened. 1980s is considered the golden age of anime due to the economy flourishing, giving it the nickname bubble economy. With the economy doing well, it led to studios to have a higher budget, allowing them to focus more on character designs, more in-depth and complex scenes and art. Anime series like Dragon Ball use detailed aesthetics with sharp black lines and distinct shading techniques, cell shading, which made the series a hit across the world. What is cell shading? Cell shading is an animation and rendering technique that mimics a hand-drawn or comic book style by using flat areas of color and sharp, hard-edged transitions between shadow and highlights rather than smooth gradients. It simplifies lighting by breaking it into a distinct blocks of color, creating a distinct, stylized, and often cartoony look. 1990s and 2000s. Significant technological shift from traditional cell animation to digital processes, digital ink and paint systems. This would allow hand-drawn images to have a wider variety of colors, also making them brighter and feel more energetic compared to traditional methods, as well as better visual effects, making it more appealing. CGI is computer-generated imagery using computer software. New technology being introduced such as CGI. They had problems with some of the colors, but eventually they were able to figure it out. This new digital process would allow studios to become more efficient while cutting down the cost compared to traditional cell animation. 1990s anime art styles. Character designs were often angular with expressive features. A common trait was large prominent eyes that could take up a significant portion of the face. Animators would use bold lines for defining features, creating a strong visual impact and a sense of depth. Anime animators later would use a technique called fluid animation. Fluid animation is a technique that simulates the lifelike and smooth motion of liquids or other flowing substance, or refers to smooth, seamless transitions in character movement, which became a thing in the late 90s. In the early 2000s, a new style would appear known as Moe style, which the art style went towards creating cuter, rounder, and large-eyed characters. The anime Lucky Star would soon influence other animes to use the Moe style. In the 2010s, digital art or processing was refined and improved upon. Widespread use of modern CGI integration and fluid animation became the standard in the 2010s. Visual effects were also improved upon, with sharp, clean lines, high-definition looks, and sophisticated digital effects like dynamic lightning, glowing particles, and camera shakes. Here's an example from Fairy Tail, Natsu fighting Loxus. Exaggerated and dynamic motion in action sequences featuring detailed smear frames. What are smear frames? Smear frames are to enhance fast-paced action and convey motion blur. Elongation and stretching techniques. The most basic technique where a character or object is stretching and distorted to show a path of very fast movement. Multiples. Creating multiple copies of a character or object within a single frame gives the impression of multiple images blurred together. Here's an example from One Piece, Luffy fighting Lucci in Gear 2. Anime animators moved away from thicker black outlines to softer ones. So far, we can say definitively that anime animation has gotten better over the years, from 1910s to all the way up to 2010s, with animation techniques and elements improving over the years. However, due to the times changing and the world becoming more digital and more fast-paced, studios and anime animators would have to keep up with the supply and demand of the consumers. Consumers are consuming at an alarming rate, forcing studios and animators to have to cut corners in order to fulfill the consumer's request, which leads to quality being sacrificed, quantity over quality. Key factors that led to the downfall of anime animation is a studio's budget, the strict deadline that's put on animators by the higher-ups, and consumers not wanting to wait and give the studios/animators more time to make everything look good. Let's look at some examples of anime that have terrible CGI. The first on the list is Overlord, an anime that came out in 2015 produced by Madhouse. The average budget is believed to be around $80,000 to $150,000. Although Overlord is a great anime and has a great story and many good characters, it definitely cut some corners, especially with the CGI. Most noticeable in Season 3, Episode 11, when Henry Emmett summons the Goblin Army for the very first time.
なんだこれ！一体どこから湧いてきたんだこのゴブリンの軍勢は！殿下、撤退の許可を！愚か者！あの軍勢を放置するのか！あれがエランテルに攻め込んできたらどうするのだ！死ねー！エンリ将軍閣下が廃墟！ゴブリン
The second on the list, Attack on Titan, came out April 7, 2013. Seasons 1 through 3 was animated by Wit Studio. The fourth and final season was animated by MAPPA, in which we're going to focus on the final season in this segment. Average budget is believed to be $500,000 to $1 million, and that's going off Season 4. We are going to be looking at Season 4, Episode 17, titled Judgment. Let's roll the clip. Ooh.
「
Last but not least, Berserk 2016. Came out July 1st, 2016. Average budget is believed to be $150,000 to $200,000 per episode. We are going to be looking at Berserk Season 1, Episode 5, Tower of Conviction. Let's roll the clip.
おいデコスケ、ほら頭下げてじっとしてる。おいしばらく。
It seems anime animation drops off around 2015, where studios and animators use CGI too much to try to animate quicker, leading to poor quality in production. However, if done right, CGI can look really good. An example that comes to mind is an anime called Lord of Mysteries. It came out June 28, 2025, produced by a Chinese studio called BC May Pictures. Here's a clip from the show called Clown vs. Nighthawk Squad. Before I wrap the video up, here are some honorable mentions from the 1990s from Dragon Ball Z's Terrible Frames. Can't forget these. As well as the One Punch Man Season 3 visual effects in Episode 2, with Garou sliding down the hill. With my favorite being a fan-made one where Garou goes down the hill in an escalator. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like and maybe subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. As always, I'll see you guys next time.